Oh, I think it's 5.
One last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 1, 1. Okay. Good.
Young, they changed Caleb. Excuse me. Yep. I think I'll just check it out real quick and make sure. I think we can go ahead and get going.
Yeah, that's good. Is it streaming? You're checking it on the other end?
Yep, I'm checking right now. All right, Lucia. You guys can join up behind if you want to as well.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Clean Vehicles Press Conference, where West Virginia elected officials and clean vehicle advocates have come together today to speak out in support of bold federal clean vehicle investments. My name is Lucia Valentine, and I'm the West Virginia organizer for Moms Clean Air Force. I'm excited to be part of this event and a member of Moms Clean Air Force, which is also hosting today's event. We are live streaming the event on our Facebook page, so tune in there on Moms Clean Air Force as well. I wanted to make a few remarks to provide some context for our event. We are here today as we recover and rebuild from the unprecedented public health and economic crisis of the past year. That also includes responding to the ongoing climate crisis we face. And just as there is no silver bullet for an economic recovery, there is no single solution to solving air pollution or climate change. Rather, we must take several different actions to boost West Virginia's economy and reduce carbon pollution. Today, we are here to talk specifically about the collection of actions related to the transportation sector, which is now the largest source of pollution in the country. These actions can move Charleston and the entire state forward in modernizing our transportation sector. This presents a win for our economy and for our health. And today we are asking that Senator Joe Manchin join the majority of West Virginians and support these 3 things. First, a robust expansion of the market for electric vehicles and electric school buses in particular. Second, bold investments in the building of electric vehicle charging stations and infrastructure. And third, increased funding for electric vehicle research and advanced manufacturing. While these are federal level actions, our federal, state, and local governments must work together to ensure efforts are complementary and effective. I, along with our other panelists, will elaborate on these items and how we can create a clean transportation future here in West Virginia and the country. I now want to introduce our next speaker, Delegate Kayla Young.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to South Charleston. So we are right now in the middle of the 35th district, which is my district, and this is my neighborhood. Behind us we have the Criel Mound, which was home to the Adena people, and right in front of us we have an electric vehicle charging station. So it's really interesting to see the past and the future all together. I'm really excited about living in South Charleston and representing it because South Charleston has taken a lot of steps in electric vehicles and clean energy investments by installing several electric vehicle chargers several years ago. We've got a couple here, we've got some at the library. And so this week has been a really big week for those of us working on infrastructure, climate, and energy policy. We're really excited and we commend Senators Capito and Manchin for supporting the infrastructure bill that will pave the way for landmark growth in the clean energy sector and set our country on the right track to meet climate goals. We also urge them to support bold federal investments to deliver these programs. We urge our entire federal delegation to continue supporting urgent climate action. We're here today to discuss electric vehicles. They're all over South Charleston, which is so exciting. Investing in clean vehicles and the market for school and transportation vehicles will not only reduce dangerous emissions, but will create millions of jobs in manufacturing and construction across the country. It will improve public health, work towards environmental justice, lift the economy, and reduce air pollution. Imagine school buses that don't have fumes that harm our children and public transportation that does the same. Pollution-free vehicles are the future and we must keep up. Our truck drivers and delivery drivers deserve clean air as they keep our country going. We know that pollution from vehicles disproportionately affects low-wealth communities and communities of color, and our innovations and investments can address this environmental justice. West Virginians deserve clean air. To be truly successful, we also have to invest in our people by providing dignified jobs. Our future depends on it. To do so, these jobs must be in the United States and hopefully here in West Virginia. The recent infrastructure bill includes credits for advanced technology vehicle manufacturing. West Virginia has a strong history of manufacturing with currently 48,000 manufacturing workers. We can diversify our energy portfolio in battery and electric vehicle manufacturing here in West Virginia. The infrastructure bill was a great first step, but it's going to take bold investments to move ahead. We hope our federal delegation will step up for the electric future of West Virginia. Thank you. Our next speaker is going to be Delegate Jim Barrett.
Thank you, Kayla. Thanks, everyone, for being here. I'm Delegate Jim Barrett, representing the 36th District, and I'm very excited to be out here talking about electric vehicles and the new technology. In fact, recently I got to test drive one of the new Mustangs. You hit the accelerator, that thing takes off. They have great range now. A friend of mine has a Tesla. Thing practically drives itself all over. I mean, just wonderful, and no emissions with that, which is great. Now, I got to tell you, I grew up in Los Angeles, and when I was a little boy, we had really bad smog there. LA's famous for its smog, but see those hills back there? I had hills about as close to me as that, about maybe 3 times as high. During the summertime, you couldn't see them. There was such a brown haze over the region. You could not see the hills. And the Clean Air Act in 1990 was upgraded. They replaced a lot of the diesel-burning vehicles, buses and trucks with natural gas. That took away a lot of the particulate. And I went back several years ago, and the hills look like that in the summertime. And a good friend of mine lives there and says it's like that all year round. Now, they still have air pollution problems, but liquid natural gas is taking care of a lot of them. Just imagine how much better it would be if we get electric vehicles in there as well, because we've got millions of vehicles in this area pumping out pollution. And if we take those away and put in clean burning or non-burning electric vehicles, it would just make such a difference. And of course, people around here are familiar with the Chemical Valley days, the blue haze, things like that. We know about air pollution here even. And so any advances we can make with that are just going to help our whole nation, which is going to be great. And now Lucia's going to, when I was young, I'd go out and play, and I'd remember coming inside and have a tickle in my throat and be coughing. I mean, the smog was that bad. It was hurting us back then. It was probably like smoking a pack of cigarettes. Lucia's going to talk about children's health, which is very important about pollution. But as a meteorologist, I'm going to talk about climate change. And one thing that we've seen with this excess carbon dioxide and methane that's been pumped into our atmosphere the last couple hundred of years, that the Earth's temperature has been warming. We know that for a fact. And we know that it is because of these gases that we're pumping into the atmosphere. And just, you take a hot day like today, is this climate change? No, we get hot days during the summer here. But when you get extreme events, that's when things get really scary. Seattle, Washington, 170 years old. It's been around for 170 years as a city. 3 times they reached 100 degrees because they're up far north and they're by the coast. This year, 3 consecutive days of 100-degree temperature. That's not a coincidence. That is definitely climate change. Portland, Oregon, all-time record high temperature, 107 degrees. This year, 3 consecutive days where they beat their all-time high temperature, including one day where it hit 116. You beat the all-time record high temperature by 1 degree, 2 degrees. That's big. 3 or 4 is major. 9 degrees is unbelievable, unheard of. So we're seeing things like that. The wildfires out west, stronger hurricanes, more tornadoes. All these are contributing to climate change. We're seeing the effects right now. Electric vehicles are going to take away some of these pollutants, and hopefully we can reverse this trend. So I'm very excited about this, the new technology that's going to take away the pollutants, help make our nation less dependent on fossil fuels, and that will certainly help the climate change situation. So I'm very excited about that. I certainly support any technology we have towards clean burning vehicles, and I'm very excited about all the new developments we have. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Delegate Mike Pushkin.
Thank you, Jim. Hi, my name is Mike Pushkin, and I represent the 37th Delegate District. which is just over this bridge over here, North Charleston, the west side, downtown, and the east end of Charleston. I grew up in this valley. I've lived here all my life. And being here in South Charleston, I can't help but remember, this town in its heyday, and this valley in its heyday. We're in the shadows of the former Union Carbide facility, which is now operated by Dow. And back in the day when I was growing up, it seemed like everybody's parents worked for Union Carbide. And throughout most of my lifetime, I've watched as these jobs have gone away. Good manufacturing jobs, good paying jobs with good benefits have just disappeared from this valley. But if we continue to cling to our past, we're not going to be able to move into the future. And there's absolutely no denying that the future of manufacturing and the future of transportation, it greatly involves electric vehicles. So I think it's time for West Virginia and it's time for this valley to get on board before we get left behind. I would love to see a day when these cars, at least parts for these cars, are manufactured right here in this valley, right here in South Charleston. There's a plant right over here that could do it. There's no reason why these good-paying manufacturing jobs don't belong, shouldn't be in West Virginia. At very least, we're standing right here next to a charging station. At very least, part of this infrastructure bill could go to expanding charging stations. And the types of jobs that it would have here for good-paying jobs with good benefits for union electricians to install and maintain these charging stations. So I commend Senators Manchin and Senators Capito for the bipartisan effort to passing an infrastructure bill. It is a great first step. It's a tremendous first step. But a real infrastructure bill is going to have to include the infrastructure to support electric vehicles, because that is the infrastructure of the future. So I would urge us to call upon Senators Manchin and Capito and our congressional delegation. Congressman Mooney should be supporting this as well. Providing good-paying, clean jobs for this valley is not a partisan issue. I would call upon them to support broadening the infrastructure in regards to electric vehicles. One more thing, and I don't think it should be lost on us, the district that I represent in this area is at the intersection of 3 interstates. If we put more of these charging stations in, it will bring folks off the interstate. It takes a little bit longer to charge a car than it does to fill it up with gasoline, and that puts people in our restaurants, in our stores, in our valley. It brings people to Charleston. It's a win-win situation. We should definitely be supporting the expansion of the electric vehicle industry, the manufacturing, the installation, and maintenance of these charging stations. It's going to be great for this valley. We need to get on board. Thank you. And I'd like to bring Lucia back up from Shepherdstown, West Virginia, to wrap everything up.
Thank you so much. Well, I want to thank these 3 wonderful speakers for sharing their thoughts and for their work to bettering our state. I stand here today as a proud West Virginian and the West Virginia organizer for Moms Clean Air Force, working to protect children from air pollution and climate change. Growing up in West Virginia, I have been no stranger to the negative environmental impacts of heavy industry and dirty energy on my state. And it is time for our state to support clean energy growth and investments in the electrical vehicle market in order to improve public health and create economic opportunity for all of West Virginians. West Virginians deserve clean air, and without ambitious investments in clean vehicles and infrastructure, automakers will continue to make dirtier cars that pollute the air and harm our health. Children in environmental justice communities are disproportionately affected by air pollution. By investing in clean transportation infrastructure, we would reduce harmful pollution and ensure our most vulnerable communities in West Virginia have cleaner air. Children riding school buses, daily commuters, truck and locally delivery drivers, and residents near major roadways and other pollution hotspots will benefit from the better air quality afforded by electric transportation. Millions of children still ride diesel-powered school buses, which exposes them to harmful diesel pollution that interferes with their health and ability to learn. Diesel exhaust is known as a human carcinogen. The tiny particles of pollution in diesel exhaust can lodge deep in the lungs and cause irritation. In addition to short-term problems like coughing, headaches, nausea, and breathing these fumes, it has been shown to damage both the lungs and the heart. And making health matters worse, Children are exposed to more diesel pollution inside the school bus than outside the bus, making their commute to school all the more toxic. Tailpipe pollution can lead to increased respiratory disease like asthma, and this is important because over 33,000 children and 160,000 adults suffer from asthma across West Virginia. Pollution from cars and trucks dirties our air and threatens our health, while electric vehicles produce zero tailpipe pollution and protects our health. Particularly during a public health and economic crisis, we need Congress to invest in clean transportation, as it is absolutely essential to meeting our nation's climate goals, reducing air pollution, improving public health, achieving environmental justice, and spurring the economy. With 60% of West Virginia voters agreeing that it is important to invest in zero-emission vehicles, like buses, to reduce air pollution around children, we urge Senator Manchin and Senator Capito to support big, bold, and crucial climate action that improves the lives of families and communities all across our beautiful state. Thank you very much.
Any questions anybody has, feel free to fire away. We'll do one-on-ones. Okay, anybody for the group? Otherwise, if you'd like one-on-one questions, we can help set them up too.
I did want to ask if Mike Cunnington said no. President Biden had initially proposed $174 billion in electric network charging infrastructure. There's a $7.5 billion in the bipartisan deal which was passed the Senate. Is there a certain price range that you're looking at adding into the Senate Democratic infrastructure bill that's floating out there to try to get to something where analysts say that buses can actually support a nationwide network of electric buses, given that Senator Manchin has called for a $3.5 trillion price tag so far through that package.
I can't answer to a specific price tag that we would put on. What we're asking for is to be part of any infrastructure package that is passed, so that the expansion of this industry and providing for these charging stations is part of the infrastructure of the future, and should be included in any infrastructure package.
If not, and then if you just want to grab wherever you'd like, I'll. Everybody, you want to go back by the background? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so if you, I think you can, it's still broadcasting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and then once it's done, then we'll load the link and then send it up on the press release.
Okay, wonderful. Cool.
You mind if I get this?
Oh, no,
it's
please
in
do.
your hair. It's the feed stopped, right?
Thank
there
you.
you
Oh, my sticker.
go. Yeah. Are
Well,
you
nice to
okay?
know. No, I'm good. No, I'm actually not very
You're a very
good.
good speaker, by the way. I was going to come over and tell you. Very good.
I appreciate it.
And you do a